Hi everybody, my name is Mateo Crawford and I'm currently a member of Professor Crockett's online business policy course at Northeastern State University. Today I'll briefly discuss the contents of Chapter 5 in our text and relate that material to a company in an article I found on The Economist. First, I want to give a very short review over the material found in Chapter 5. Chapter 5 is the 5 generic competitive strategy options, which one to employ. There are a handful of different techniques that a company might utilize in order to compete successfully and develop a competitive advantage. However, they all aim to deliver superior value in relation to its competitors. Superior value may come in different forms, whether it's a good product at a lower price, a high quality product that's worth paying more for, or a best value combination of price, features, quality, and service. But regardless of what form it may take, superior value is always delivered the same way, and that is by performing value chain activities differently than rival companies and establishing a method that cannot easily be mimicked by those rival companies. So, in order for a company to be competitive, it must establish one of these competitive strategies. The competitive strategy that I'll be talking about today is the broad differentiation strategy, and it strives to differentiate its product or service from its competitors by offering unique and desirable attributes that appeal to customers. The company that I'll be relating this to is Uber. I'm sure many of you have heard of Uber, but I just want to give you some background information about the company before I get into the contents of my article. Uber is a taxi company that has exercised a broad differentiation strategy since its inception in 2008. They specialize in providing an extremely convenient on-demand car service in the form of a smartphone application that allows people to request taxis to come and pick them up from their current location and deliver them to their desired destination. Usually, the traditional way to catch a taxi is already be in an urban area and be in physical range in order to hawk that taxi down and catch a cab. Not only that, the app allows you to use your PayPal account, debit card, or credit card and put that on file so that anytime you catch a ride, it'll just automatically be charged to your account and you don't have to bring out cash. It pretty much eliminates the need for cash. What differentiates Uber even more is the fact that the drivers aren't actual employees. They're contractors who use their own vehicles and set their own hours on when they wish to work. And although I know what Uber is, I've never personally used it. And when I heard this and that the fact that they're not certified drivers that have to meet specific requirements or specifications, it made me wonder how safe Uber actually is. Well, I had found that on the app, after each ride, the passenger has the ability to rate their driver based on a 5-star scale. And if the driver develops a bad rating, then they'll just get booted and fired. So that's how they try to manage their safety. Its unique service has allowed to outperform its competitors of taxis, buses, subways, and etc. But there's new companies now like Lyft, Curb, and Sidecar who have tried to pretty much replicate that service that Uber is giving right now, and it's giving Uber a little bit more competition, but Uber is always trying to differentiate its service more and more and establish itself as the best option for its customers. And this leads me to my article. The article I found in The Economist is titled "A New Way to Overtake, Uber Plans for the Arrival of Flying Cars." So they're basically trying to dive into the future, something that we've probably anticipated to happen eventually, but personally I didn't expect it to happen this soon. Last week, Uber published a 97-page white paper titled "Fast Forwarding to a Future of On-Demand Urban Air Transportation." It proposes a program called Elevate, and within these next 10 years, Uber plans to expand its strategy even more and create an unmatchable competitive edge by introducing a flying car network. These cars won't actually be in the form of the car; they'll resemble more like helicopters, and they'll be referred to as VTOLs, which are vertical takeoff and landings. The attached link in the thread that I posted this video in will have the article, and in the article you can see an illustration of what a VTOL is supposed to look like. VTOLs are anticipated to turn a 2-hour road trip into a 15-minute flight. And not only that, Uber claims that the cost of flying over traffic will be less than the current cost of a traditional ground Uber ride because these VTOLs are electrically powered, therefore they require no fuel costs. They'll be charged on pads called Verti stops where they'll be able to put in a lot of cities, and they actually have destinations plan for these VTOLs, right, or these Vertistops right now. They pretty much have everything planned out for Elevate, but they do have some navigational and regulatory challenges that they're facing with their implementation. Uber must construct the system so that the aircraft do not crash into each other, crash into buildings or planes. And in order to do that, they have to get the consent from the government. Not only that, they'll have to get assistance from the government and private sectors in creating these VTOLs and having them built, because they are not going to be able to do it themselves. If they can accomplish these two tasks, Elevate will be very beneficial for Uber, and I feel like the impact that it will have on the taxi transportation environment will be revolutionary, to say the least. I feel like their current plan is a prime example of a broad differentiation strategy that will generate superior customer value. So now I just want to ask you all to take a few minutes to reflect on the current impact Uber has had on your life, or may possibly have on your life if you've never used it. Then I want you to consider the impact that it'll place on your life if they introduce these flying cars. And not only that, would you feel safe and comfortable being the passenger of a flying car? That's all I have for my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it and found it interesting. Thank you for your time.